This might sound strange, but there's a biblical secret to burning 20 pounds of visceral belly fat, and it's found in this verse, written into the most sex-crazed city in the world, home to 1,000 temple prostitutes. Yet it lines up almost perfectly with what modern science is only now proving, that you can lower the stress hormone stacking fat on your belly, quiet the genes that store it, and even strengthen the part of your brain that beats a craving, which is unbelievable. I'm Dr. Jockers, and I've worked with thousands of patients over my life, but if I can only pass one thing on to the people I've helped, it would be this verse, because of what it does not only for your fat, but for your soul. Nearly 2,000 years before the first fat loss study was ever run, Paul the Apostle wrote a letter to the city of Corinth, the most sex-crazed city in the ancient world. In that letter was an incredible Bible verse to help the city find its way again. But in that letter was not only a set of spiritual lessons, it also included 3 proven weight loss techniques that work incredibly well to shrink visceral fat. Here's what it said. Listen to this. Do you not know that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit who lives in you, the Spirit you have received from God? But it isn't over, because Paul goes further and adds these 4 incredible words. You are not your own. So what is Paul really saying here? And what does this have to do with me, who's trying to lose visceral belly fat? You see, Paul didn't go out to write a visceral fat manual. Far from it. But part of God's agenda, I believe, is for you to actually thrive in the body he gave you. Not just drag it around, but live full and free inside it. And it turns out caring for that body and honoring him are the very same act. And this verse, 1 Corinthians 6:19 and 20, that's honing in on that exact shift. Instead of just seeing your body as yours to indulge or to use for whatever it craves, he says your body isn't a place you go to indulge. Your body is the temple. The Spirit of God lives inside it. It's no longer something you do with as you please, but something you protect. And this makes all the difference. Just think about every diet you've ever tried, whether it's keto or you're cutting calories. Every single diet probably ran through one river, willpower. You white-knuckled it, resist the food, and hold out as long as you can until the day you're tired or stressed or it's been a long week and the willpower runs out. It always runs out. It's not because you're bad or weak. That's just how willpower works. But this verse doesn't ask you for more willpower. It changes something more fundamental. Scientists actually have a name for this. It's called identity-based change. This is when a behavior is tied to a goal. It dies the second your motivation dips. But when a behavior is tied to your identity, to who you believe you are, it holds. Because you don't stop being who you are just because you had a hard day. Now, to be clear, identity alone doesn't melt fat off your body. You still have to eat well and move, but the research is compelling. The story you tell yourself about your own body changes what you do with it. In one line of studies, people who saw their body as sacred and holy, they took better care of it. They ate better. They respected it more, not by white-knuckling anything, but because you protect what you believe is sacred. And that is the exact identity Paul hands you in 4 words. You are not your own. That single line takes you out of the diet game entirely. A dieter is managing a body they think they own. A temple keeper is caring for something they were trusted with. It sounds minor, but studies and my experience with patients tell me it's everything. And this is especially important when it comes to stubborn visceral belly fat. You see, visceral fat, that deep fat that's wrapped around your organs, is never built by one bad weekend. It's built slowly by your defaults. The food you grab without thinking, how you wind down at night, what you reach for when you're stressed. It's the sum of who you are on an ordinary Tuesday, which means the fat that feels impossible to lose actually responds to the one thing almost every diet ignores, your identity. Change the person making those small daily choices, and you change the fat those choices were quietly building. So this isn't spiritual fluff bolted in onto a health video. It's aimed straight at the root source. By the way, since we're on the topic of stress and stress-related coping behaviors, I've got a video on a simple drink that drops cortisol up to 60%. If you're interested in that, link is in the description. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Dr. Jockers, come on. Paul was writing about holiness and temple worship. He wasn't a fat loss coach. Aren't you just reading modern science into an old verse? And that's a fair question. So let me be honest with you. Paul knew nothing about cortisol. He'd never heard the words visceral fat. He was obviously writing a letter to a struggling church about how to live. And that is what makes this so remarkable. Because without knowing a thing about the biology, Paul handed Corinth the same 3 levers researchers now use to shrink visceral fat and make it stick. 2 of them we've already covered. Treat your body as sacred and run on identity instead of willpower. The science supports this. But it's the 3rd one that's the most surprising of them all, because it's something you may already do and it costs nothing. It takes 2 minutes and almost everyone files it under spiritual. A nice habit, good for your soul, nothing to do with your body. Except it has everything to do with your body. It's measurable and it goes straight for the hormone behind your visceral fat. I'm talking about prayer. I know how that sounds, so don't take my word for it. Watch. Let's start at Harvard. Dr. Herbert Benson and his team spent decades studying what happens inside the body during deep, focused prayer. And what they found is almost hard to believe. That prayerful state reaches all the way down to your genes, quieting the ones tied to inflammation and stress, and affecting the genes that help control insulin, your body's master fat storage hormone. Now, one honest note, because I want to be straight with you. In their research, that deep state wasn't researched through prayer alone. Slow breathing and meditation did it as well, and the biggest changes showed up in people who practice this regularly, not after a single try. But repetitive focused prayer is one of the exact ways they triggered it. Then there's cortisol, the stress hormone that, as we talked about, sends fat to your belly first. Study after study on prayer points in the same direction. Cortisol comes down. The calm, surrendered state prayer creates is the very opposite of the chronic stress that keeps cortisol and belly fat high. And it's not just your hormones. Neuroscientist Dr. Andrew Newberg has scanned people's brains while they pray, and he found something striking. Prayer lights up the front of the brain, the prefrontal cortex, the exact region that runs your decisions and your self-control. It's the same part of you that decides whether to reach for the cookie or not. So think about what's really happening when you pray over your body. You're lowering the hormone that builds visceral fat. You're calming the genes tied to inflammation and fat storage, and you're strengthening the part of your brain that makes the next good choice easier. 3 things all at once from one act of prayer. But if this were true, then wouldn't everyone at the church who prays be walking around lean? Well, I wondered the same thing. Why does it work for some people, yet most folks who pray don't see anything? It turns out prayer isn't a magic spell, it's a lever. It lowers the stress hormone and it strengthens the part of your brain that makes the next good choice. But it can't make that choice for you. If you pray and then eat the same comfort food, skip the walk, and live the same stressed out patterns, then the lever has nothing to lift. Prayer doesn't replace caring for your body. It's what makes caring for it possible and sustainable. Remember, it was never one lever. It's all 3 together. The people who actually see this aren't the ones who just pray. They're the ones who pray and treat the body as the temple it is. That said, there are ways to pray to get the most fat-burning effect. The good news is it's not fancy words or spending an hour on your knees. What mattered in the research was simple. The prayer was focused, steady, and regular. It wasn't rushed, distracted, or just once in a blue moon. Now, I tell my patients who are open to the power of prayer, I tell them anchor it to something you already do 3 times a day, like your meals. Before you eat, take 60 seconds. Close your eyes, slow your breathing down. Thank God for the body he gave you and ask him to help you honor it with what you're about to put in it. This is what we do in my family. That's it. It's simple. You're not adding one more thing to your to-do list. Instead, you're attaching prayer to your current routine. And that steady daily rhythm is exactly the kind of research showed actually changes what's happening inside your body. Do that, and prayer stops being something you file under Sunday and becomes the thing that reshapes how you eat every single day. But there's something even more powerful about prayer that I forgot to mention. Let's go back a bit. In the study about prayer, I mentioned that meditation and breath work achieved similar effects to prayer. They can also lower your cortisol and quiet fat genes. So if calming protocols were the answer, you could just download an app and call it a day. No need for any of this Bible stuff or prayer. But calm was never the real power of prayer, not even fat loss. In fact, prayer was never really about your body at all. Paul said that what actually matters in one line, in a different letter. Listen to this. Offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. That is your true and proper form of worship. This comes from Romans 12:1, and it's one of my favorite verses. What is Paul saying here? Paul is saying caring for your body isn't vanity. It's not just a number on the scale. It's a form of worship. The same body you've been fighting with, criticizing in the mirror, trying to shrink, God calls that holy. It's a living offering, and understanding that changes the entire journey. Now, if you're tensing up a little bit, wondering, Dr. Jockers, are you trying to convert me? My answer is no, I'm not. If faith isn't your thing, take the science and run. The cortisol, the identity, the daily rhythm all work together, whether you believe a word of it or not. But I won't pretend that faith is just a trick to lower stress hormones. I don't believe that. I think this works because it's true. Your body really was made by someone, and it really isn't fully your own. You don't have to agree with me on this to get the results. I'd just rather be straight with you than water it down. So take what serves you and stay with me, because this is where it gets really good. Paul doesn't stop here. The very next line is where it gets practical. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. What's the pattern of this world when it comes to your health? Look around. Most people are under chronic stress. They're staying up too late. They're scrolling on their phones in bed. They're choosing food because it's easy and pleasing. The drive-through, the comfort snacks, the processed stuff built to make you crave more. That's the pattern. And it's the exact pattern that grows visceral fat. Paul's fix isn't to try harder. It's renew your mind. Change the mind and the choices follow. But it's not just about your mental attitude or choices. It runs much deeper in the grooves of your brain. If you remember what prayer does to the front of your brain, the prefrontal cortex, the part that runs your decisions, that is the renewing of your mind. In a way, Paul named the mechanism 2,000 years before a brain scanner could see it. But what does the renewed pattern actually look like? What are the practical steps? Well, good news. It's not a 90-day boot camp. It's a handful of small swaps you can start today. It starts with the verse in the title. Read Romans 12:1 and 2, really, every morning out loud if you can. This daily act puts the identity in front of you before the world's pattern takes over. Reading it is how you renew your mind, one day at a time. Then your meals. You already know the prayer. 60 seconds before you eat. Add one thing. Make half your plate real whole food. And this week, cut one processed thing. Just one. Then your body. 15 minutes of movement a day. Even better as a walk right after a meal, which blunts the blood sugar spike that feeds belly fat. And the wind down. Trade 20 minutes of late night scrolling for lights out a little earlier. Get to bed a little earlier. Your body will thank you. Lowers the cortisol we've talked about while you sleep. That's the ritual. Read the verse, pray over your meals, half your plate whole food, cut one processed thing, walk 15 minutes, sleep earlier. Will this burn 20 pounds? It's important to know visceral fat didn't show up in a weekend, and it won't leave in one. It comes off the way it came on, pound by pound, over weeks and months as you live this pattern. This isn't the week you lose the fat, but the week you become the person who does. And becoming that person is the real win here. Not necessarily being healthier, which is nice. This was always about something deeper than the scale. Everyone is treating their bodies poorly. They're fighting it, punishing it, staring in the mirror at the thing they're trying to shrink like it's the enemy. That's the pattern of the world too. It tells you your body is a problem to fix and that you'll be worthy once you finally fix it. The temple identity says the opposite. Your body isn't the enemy. It isn't a project you earn your worth by finishing. It's already holy, already an offering. You don't care for it to become acceptable. You care for it because it already is. And that one shift ends the war. You stop starving a body you hate into a shape you'll tolerate, and you start honoring a body you were trusted with. Same meals and walks, but one comes from shame and the other comes from reverence. And here's what almost nobody will tell you. A lot of that fat wasn't held on by weak willpower. It was held on by the war itself, the stress, the shame, the all or nothing cycle of hating yourself thin and then giving up. The moment you get on your body's side, because God already is, the fighting stops. And so does the reason the fat was hanging on. You were never meant to lose the weight so you could finally love your body. You were meant to love it first and let the weight follow. God is with you and he is for you. And with that said, I want to try something special. This is something I've never done before, but given that you know about the power of prayer, I want to pray over you and your health. And if faith isn't your thing, still don't go anywhere. Treat it like an experiment with nothing to lose, except your cortisol and your belly fat. So close your eyes if you can. And here we go. Father, I lift up the person watching this right now. You know them and you know the body they're in because you made it. Every cell of it, it was never a mistake and it was never theirs alone. It's yours. Lord, you know how tired they are, how many times they've tried, the mirror, the shame, the quiet voice that says they'll never get there. I'm asking you to quiet that voice right now. End the war they've been fighting with their own body. Help them to see what you see, not a problem to fix, but a temple, holy, worth caring for, loved exactly as they are today, before a single pound comes off. Renew their mind, Father. Where the old patterns have worn deep grooves, carve new ones. Give them strength for the small choices, the meal, the walk, the early night. And as they begin to honor the body you gave them, I ask you to do what only you can. Calm the stress, quiet the inflammation, let the healing begin in the body and in the heart. They are not their own. They are yours, and they are deeply, fully loved. In Jesus' mighty name, amen. Thank you for watching this video, but I don't want to leave you with just a nice moment. I want to leave you with the plan. I go through the best steps with diet, exercise, sleep, sunlight in my free 7-day fat burning quick start guide. The exact week laid out day by day, so you don't have to remember a thing. Scan the code on your screen or tap the link below and it's yours. And if your gut's been part of this fight, the bloating, the cravings, the inflammation that keeps cortisol high, the one thing I'd add is our gut repair formula. It's what I reach for first with my patients. It's linked right under the guide. As always, be blessed.